All right. Okay, let's get going. Thank you all for joining and welcome. I'm Mark Wilson, and I work in sales strategy in our distribution and NSP segment. And with me today, we have Gwen Wisman, who manages the Harman account for Harman, Whitney Bosch, who works in our channel marketing organization, and Sean Cameron and David Tewksbury, who are both legendary product experts who are going to present to you some of our newest products. You go into the agenda. There we go. So I'm going to give you a brief introduction to Harman, and then I'm going to pass it on to Sean to talk about some of our new AMX products, and then he will pass to David Tewksbury to talk about some of our new JBL and AKG products, and then we'll have a Q&A. Before I start, we're in this age right now where there's supply constraints and everything's chaotic, and in some respects, Harman has been very lucky. We obviously have supply issues, but during this time, we have been able to introduce a lot of new products. We'll talk to you about over 10 of them today. So that's something we're pretty excited about, is that we've been able to keep the NPI machine going despite the pandemic. So a little bit of background. I don't know how much you actually know about Harman, but let me give you a little bit of context. Whenever we talk about Harman, a lot of people say, oh, Harman Kardon. Well, Harman Kardon is only a very, very small part of what we do. That's one of our brands, but Harman is actually the #1 company in the world in smart audio, connected car and car audio, and we're #3 in the world in headphones. We amazingly have won 3 Grammy Awards and 2 Oscars for our work on various films and television shows with our sound. You will find Harman audio products in over 70% of the NFL, NBA, NHL, and Major League stadiums. Our brand JBL is celebrating its 75th anniversary today. And a lot of people don't know, but we are a wholly owned subsidiary of Samsung. They acquired us a few years back. Is the slide not advancing?
No, it's still on. There you go.
There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you. So a few fun facts about Harman. Harman's roots go back to the 1920s when there was a famous audio engineer named James B. Lansing whose speakers were used in the first talking film called The Jazz Singer. And a little bit of trivia for you. If you think about what J.B. Lansing's initials are, you now know where the term JBL came from. Going forward, if you look through this list, these are just some of the Harman firsts throughout time. One of my favorite ones is in the 60s. Our speakers were used for Woodstock, the Woodstock Festival. And then in the 2000s, AMX, which is the brand that I originally came from and that Whitney came from, our technology was installed in the White House Situation Room. And if you look at that picture in the lower right-hand corner, that's an AMX touch panel there facing President Obama, and then behind Hillary Clinton there is another AMX wall panel. Those are obviously old generation panels, but they work quite well. Harman is divided into 2 divisions, automotive and lifestyle. Automotive is exactly what it sounds. It's audio systems, telematics, and smart car systems for automobiles. And then where we are in the lifestyle division, and that's lifestyle audio and video, and it's subdivided into 2 categories. One is professional solutions and one is consumer. We are the professional solutions organization. So what does that mean? These are some of the brands that you will find in both consumer and professional. The ones you see on the left, the consumer brands, you probably know them as very high-end audio brands. And then on the right, professional solutions includes both Martin and AMX, which are lighting and video and control brands. In the middle, those are our crossover brands where JBL, AKG, and Lexicon, you'll see products that are both consumer and professional. And then finally, before I hand it over to Sean, this is just a brief snapshot on what all of those brands do. And the most important thing to know here is in the audio signal chain, all the way from when the audio is is produced into where the audio is rendered in loudspeakers, we can basically do all of that, from the microphones that capture the sound to the mixers that mix it, the amplifiers that amplify it, and the headphones and loudspeakers that actually produce it for the listener. And similarly, in the video signal chain, our AMX organization does the same thing, all the way from the collaboration systems and room control systems that actually integrate video, all the way to the displays that can actually display them. So having said that, I would now like to pass it along to Mr. Cameron, who will tell you about some of the cool things we've got going on in video and control. Sean?
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, so I'm Sean Cameron. I'm a solutions expert for the NSP distribution channel here at HARMAN Pro. So I wanted to talk to you guys about some new AMX products, some video switchers and window processor, and a HDMI to USB capture solution. So on this slide, we see that there's 3 different categories here. With the matrix switchers, there's 4 new matrix switchers. There is the UVC1, which is a 4K HDMI to UVC capture. It has a lot of really, really cool applications that I'm going to go over. And then the windowing processor, it's a 4-in, 2-out video switcher that can take any of those 4 inputs. And Mark, you're covering the screen.
Sorry about that.
It's all right. Thanks. So the windowing processor can take any of those 4 inputs, window them on both of the outputs. I'll get into some more details about that one in a second as well. But these all make up a very complete solution for AMX, and they also represent a lower entry point into the world of AMX video switching. Some of these price points that we're hitting now were untouchable by AMX in the past. But since the HARMAN acquisition, we've been able to have a greater pool of engineers and resources and everything. And now with Samsung involved as well, we really can deliver much more cost-effective products than we ever have. Next slide.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So the Precis line might be familiar to some people that have been using AMX for a long time. Precis actually came from AutoPatch, which was a video switching company that AMX had acquired quite a number of years ago. Precis, it represents a line of just pre-configured video switchers. So unlike our DGX line, where you buy a chassis, you populate it with input cards, you populate it with output cards. It's not a predefined input-output matrix on that chassis. You load it with what you need. When we talk about Precis, it's preloaded or predefined. So we have a 4x2, we have a 6x2, a 4x4, and an 8x8. So that's all 4 of them that you see stacked up right there. Also take note on the slide, the MSRP prices on here, starting at $800 for a 4x2 switcher and going to $4,800 for the 8x8 switcher. These are unheard of price points in the history of AMX. But don't think that because we're hitting a lower price that these don't have a lot of great features that you can really leverage in all of your projects here. They're 4K 60, 444. They do HDR. They do, Dolby Digital, multi-channel audio. There's also a full control API and an HTML5 web interface that I will show you when we get to the window processor, what those interfaces look like. Next slide, Mark.
Okay. There we go.
All right. So these are like the 6 main points that really make this something that, to consider in a design. First off is the perfect video. Again, 4K 60, 444, HDMI 2, HDCP 2.2, HDR, Dolby Vision, deep color. So it's full 4K at the higher bit rates to get those other features, the HDR Dolby Vision and deep color. The other thing, point two here, is the EDID management. This is a bit more advanced EDID management than you find on most switchers in this price point. So I can actually go in and select from a default predefined list of resolutions to send to the source devices that are plugged into it. So I can tell it only do widescreen formats, only do 4K formats, only do 1080p formats, whatever. But then it also gives me the option of learning EDID from one of the outputs and storing it on an input. So if I needed to do something like pass 3D along through it, none of our EDIDs say that this supports 3D, but with the bandwidths that we have in all these connectors, we could easily pass 3D through it. So I would need a 3D display or some sort of 3D EDID that I could sample and copy and put on one of the inputs. So whatever source device that I connect to it will see that, and it will offer that as an available output option. I can also go in and just edit the EDID hexadecimal values and load it right on, make my own custom EDID. So very feature rich when it comes to managing EDID on the inputs.
Sorry about that. Did Sean, can you now see my screen in presentation mode?
Yes, but I'm also seeing your chat with Gwen. Okay, good now.
Yeah, okay, good. Sorry about that. I had a screen go out. I actually had a display go out. So
all right, cool, Mark.
Yeah, there we go.
Whoa, go back. Back one.
Oh, sorry. There we go.
All right, so audio de-embedding. This is another important thing on here because all of our other matrix switchers can do breakaway audio switching, and we can automatically down mix multi-channel audio to send out of the 2-channel audio outputs. In this particular one, this is part of the cost of meeting a price point. There's no breakaway audio switching on here, and you need 2-channel audio input to extract 2-channel audio as an analog output. If you want full multi-channel surround sound, it will pass just fine straight through, but you'll get nothing on the analog audio outputs for those particular outputs that you're using. It's just one of those things where the cost of audio down mixing and the extra processing for doing breakaway audio switching would have just put this in a higher price category. We're really trying to get into a much more cost-effective proposition here. Point 4 is going to be important in the future. It's not so important right now, but it's a thing called H control, which we are starting to move into new platforms for both software and hardware. And one of the things that we realized is between all the existing HARMAN equipment and all the existing AMX equipment, we had 2 incompatible protocols for having all these devices talk to each other. So for example, a BSS processor is using HiQNet, but an AMX processor is using ICSP. They're very similar, but they are just completely incompatible. So at some point in the future, we will be bringing everything onto a unified platform, and that unified platform is going to be called H control. Programmers around the world will rejoice because HiQNet is a little difficult to deal with as a programmer. H control is really programmer friendly. So we definitely want to make our products as attractive as possible to be put in systems even where AMX is not the primary control platform, which brings me to the point 5, where we have an open control API. You can control these with Telnet, SSH, RS-232. There is also a full HTML5 web GUI. And of course, you can control it with front panel buttons, and you see the LCD screens on the front to tell you the status and everything. But this is very, very friendly for third-party control. We always, would like to have an AMX control system in there, but we know the reality is there's a lot of organizations that have bought into and standardized on certain platforms like Crestron or Extron or something like that. And, it's not very likely to sway and convince them to ditch all that money and all that investment that they did on that platform to swap it out to an AMX solution just so you can use our switchers. So we still want to be able to make those switcher sales, even if there's a third-party control system in there, So we've accommodated that. And it's another common theme that you'll see across all Harman products. We're going to be very, very control friendly by third parties. Obviously, the path of least resistance is always going to be to use an AMX control system. But in those scenarios where it's not possible, we still want to be considered for the parts that we can be in. And the last point here is completes the portfolio. It really does give us now a complete solution from the lower priced entry level products all the way through to the flagship high-end products like our Epica 288, which is a 288 by 288 matrix switcher. It's amazing. And it's something that is just, the highest of high-end products. So we really do cover that entire gamut now. Next slide, Mark. So as a good component to all of these, the world that we live in right now, we're doing a lot of what we're doing right now, which is Zoom conferences, Skype, Microsoft Teams, Blue Jeans, GoToMeeting, all those things. This is pretty much our daily for communication and meeting with both coworkers and clients. So one of the things that we can do is enhance those experiences. And part of that is bringing in video sources that you traditionally can't really bring into, like Zoom, for example. I'm working with my web camera that's on top of my monitor, and I'm working with, Mark's shared desktop. Well, besides that, I really don't have access to any other video sources. What if I wanted to have cameras on my in-room participants? What if I wanted to have a whiteboard and be able to show the whiteboard to people on the far end? Or, maybe any other additional cameras or video sources, maybe even like a wireless sharing device. I want to bring all that stuff into my my software codecs, and this is the way to do it. And it brings 4K 60 444 right in. It's compatible with HDCP 2.2, and it even has a separate analog audio input in case you use a video converter from VGA or DVI or some other video format that doesn't have the audio already embedded, and we can support that with this as well. Next slide. So like I said, HDMI 2 support, full 4K 60, USB 3.0 capture. We can embed analog audio using the stereo 1/8" connector there that's right next to the HDMI. It also supports multiple OSs. So don't think that this is just for your PC conferences or webcasts or whatever way that you're broadcasting video on the internet. We also support Windows, Mac OS, and iOS and Android. So I could use this with a tablet streaming to Facebook Live, for example, have some in-room cameras or some other video sources I want to share with my Facebook Live audience. I can use this product to do that. Obviously compatible with a lot of different types of UVC software. A lot of them are listed there. These are ones that we use every day. And it really does complete the solution, whether you're using those new Precis switchers that I just talked about, whether you're using our Insight presentation switcher, one of our DVXs, which is an all-in-one presentation switcher, or even our networked AV solutions with our networked encoders and decoders is another great accessory for all of that. The other part of the solution completion is we have software, a software-based system called TPC TPI Pro. This replaces a hardware windowing processor and AMX touch panel interface that we used to have. It was a lot of money. You're $15,000 to get into that. And it just made it for a very expensive solution. And when we went to engineer a new version of it, because the old version was on DVI, we realized that we had a lot more flexibility by making it into a software solution instead of a hardware solution. So now you run the TPC software on a PC. And if I want to bring video sources into it that I can window around the screen and interact with using an AMX touch as an AMX touch interface, I needed a way to do that. And this is the way, is the HDMI to USB. I can add up to 8 of these to window in the TPI software. So it's completes, this whole suite of things that we're we've been creating over the last couple of years. Yeah, so the next slide, please. So that brings us to the windowing processor. So instead of talking a lot about this windowing processor, I'm just going to switch over to doing a demo of the windowing processor. But Mark, if you want to slip to the next slide really quickly, just so that, you know, for those who are looking here or whoever goes back to the recording later, you can kind of see the highlight slides, just like what I went over before. But now, Mark, if you can stop sharing for a second so that I can bring my video to the full stage here. So if you're looking at me now, you should be seeing me as the full screen. If I am not the full screen, you can go up to my window. Actually, I can do it now. I can spotlight for everybody. So now this is my video coming from a web camera that's going into my windowing processor. And I've also got some other video sources here too. So I can change presets to having this this multi-window where I have a big window in the back, and I'm trying to play this video here. It's been acting funny for me, my internet connection. But you can see that I have some other windows here too. I have an image that's supposed to represent a camera that's in the room, so that let's say we're doing distance learning and we can now see the students that are in the room. If I'm one of the distance learning students, it helps me kind of be more in touch with what's going on in the classroom, and I can feel more engaged as opposed to just being someone who's watching videos. And then I have a spreadsheet up, and then of course my camera. I also have another preset here that I switch to, and also note how fast it's switching to the different presets. I'm controlling this with just a Masio 6-button keypad from AMX. So it's very, very simple to control this device. So last preset that's built in is just a regular quad. So I can easily recall these as default presets, but I can also make up to 8 of my own presets. So if I go here, I just did a quick side-by-side. This is not a built-in preset, but it's something that you can easily create. As well as the last one here, I just did a basic picture-in-picture. I'm kind of surprised this wasn't one of our built-in presets, but it's very, very handy to be able to do this and be able to instantly recall 8 presets. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to switch to sharing my screen really quickly. And go to my windowing processor and log in. So this is the windowing processor. This is the HTML5 interface that you'll see for everything that we do, that we can configure on here. So network, easy setup there. Security, so this does inherit a lot of the same security features as the rest of AMX. SSH is a secure way of controlling this and interfacing with it. We can manage our certificates. We can load our own certificates. We can create separate passwords. So this is a very secure system. We can also go into our switcher. I can go and click on my output. I can set my scaling mode. I can do my on-screen display mode. I can even affect my HDCP settings. So I can force it to 2.2. I can force it to 1.4, or I can turn it off entirely. This does support CEC. So I can adjust my display power on and off timeouts. And I can also change my audio source going to this output. So the windowing processor does have breakaway audio because it's one way that we can get some of these other cool features we have. On the input side, you can see under here, under EDID, I can look at my EDID mode and do it auto. I can change to these different resolutions, and I can even go to custom. And when I go to custom, I can load or save EDID. This is exactly the same way it works on the Precis switchers. So I'm just going to set that back to auto. And the last thing that I want to show you is not the last thing. Second last thing is the switching part of it. Switching part's really easy. I mean, it's just a regular switcher at this point. But if I change my video mode into windowing, I can go in and actually configure my windows. So if I'm if I'm on here with my, should change. Okay, so if you're looking at my little thumbnail, I can move this window around. And when I let go, you see that in real time, it actually moved it the minute I unclicked, the minute I let go of my mouse button, it moved this window around. So it automatically saves the preset. I don't actually have to force this into a saved preset. Once I switch to another source, I can go back to it and it goes into my presets. So, and I can see what preset I have recalled, and all this stuff is live real time. So I do have a lot of things that I can do here. I can also put borders around my windows. I can select my border colors. All of this can be recalled through the API. So there's a lot of things that I can do with this windowing processor beyond just your basic windowing and quad stuff. So that's what I got. And I'm going to hand this off to Tewks, who's going to talk about some audio solutions.
All right.
Thanks, Sean. So while he's getting that back up, which he did, I'm David Tewksbury. A lot of people know me as Tewks. Just throw the bury away. Just bury it. I'm an audio product and application specialist on the audio team, and happy to be here. So go ahead and go to the next slide. We're gonna hammer through this and get you guys on with your day. So we got a few products we're going to talk about today. The first two products actually will all tie in with a software that we just came out with too. So technically it's a new product as well. So this is our most recent portable PA that we've released. That is the Eon 1 Mark II. So if you're familiar with the Eon 1 and the Eon 1 Pro, take everything you know about it and kind of throw it out the door, because this is a ground up redesign of this form factor. So you can go to next slide. I'm going to kind of hit you with the highlights, but if you want to kind of go through some details, hit me up, email. I'm happy to do a one-on-one with you. Application size. This is going to be that small to mid-sized venue. And by the way, you don't have to be connected to power on this, and I'll explain. So think of it in terms of corporate, live sound, house of worship, fitness, indoor, outdoor, because you can pretty much take it from the backseat of your car or the trunk of your car, and within minutes, set it up, turn it on without even plugging it into a wall, and go for it because it has a battery. Education, we see a lot of this going on in education too, of being able to set up portable PA really quick to be able to do some announcing or to have some fun on the playground. Next slide. So these are your 6 bullet points. What we've done is we've redesigned it. These are all the pain points that we took from our old designs. What we did is we kind of did a C array on the top unit with the 8 2-inch drivers. We're able to put a 10-inch subwoofer into the cabinet simply because we took the battery out that we had in the Eon 1 Pro. It's out of that cabinet. It is actually in the tower. It's in one of the spacers. So we've also gone away from that analog mixer that we put on the back of the unit, and we have a 5-channel digital mixer in there that has all kinds of nice caveats in there. We've got Lexicon effects, a full package of that. We've got DBX drive rack built into this. We also have 2 channels of phantom power if you want to use a condenser mic. And the biggest one that I wanted to go through is that this is a one-hand carry. So all that you see there will break down, and your spacers will drop into the back of the unit, and you can pick it up with one hand and carry off with it. Throw it in your trunk and be on. We also now went away from good old Bluetooth 4.0. We are with Bluetooth 5.0 now. So you're going to get longer range and you're going to get better sound quality. And then I'm going to go through this a little bit later. We also have designed a JBL Pro Connect app that will allow you to connect to not only the Eon 1 Mark II, but the next speaker I'm going to talk about, and so forth. So all of these speakers going forward will be usable on this app. So swappable battery. That battery is in the spacer. It's in the tower. So you can swap it out. And while you're actually playing, obviously you'll lose your highs when you pull it apart, but you can swap it out. We also provide accessory of having a separate charger that will charge 2 other batteries at the same time. So you're never going to be without if you're sitting on the beach and you want really good music. Next slide. So I dropped in this so you can see what the one-hand carry looks like. So obviously you can see your 3 towers. The center one is your speaker. The 2 side ones, one is just a blank. The other one is actually your battery. So imagine, because batteries do eventually start wearing out. So now you don't have to send your whole unit in. You can actually just throw that battery, recycle that battery or send the battery in for repair if it's under warranty. So if you also notice, there's a little bit button right there across that little frame guard. That is actually a lock. So what it does is when you are transporting it, you can push that button in, it will lock those 3 components into place so they won't fall out. Go to the next slide. There are a ton of features in this. So if you want to do a deeper dive, we can go through that. So here's the PRX1. So this is the next level up from the Eon 1 Mark II. This is not battery powered. So you have to plug this one in because it is a 2000 watt amplifier built into this. So next slide. So just like we did on the Eon 1 Mark II, this is going to be a mid-size venue up to some 500 people is quite large. So again, this is a 2000 watt comparatively to the 1500 watt in the Eon 1 Mark II. So live sound events, corporate presentations, house of worship, very similar to what the Eon 1 is, but you're going to be able to do larger audiences with this. Next slide. So let's break it down into the 6. So same thing with our old format of the Eons, the Eon 1s. We actually perfected this one a little bit better. We put in a 2000 watt amplifier. This thing will get up to 130 dB and it will go down to 35 Hertz. There's a 12-inch subwoofer in there. So there are 12 2.5-inch drivers up the entire array. And what we developed, it was very similar to the CBT line where you're going to get that front to back coverage, that column line array feel with our AIM technology. So in other words, people could be sitting near it and not being blown away because they're sitting so close to it. So the energy has actually been distributed so that the higher energy is coming out of the top of the array. So again, full DBX and Lexicon suite built in. One of the main differences between the Eon and this one is that on this one, you will get limiting, compression, and a gating on every channel. And by the way, number 4, we put in a 7-channel digital mixer into here. You're going to get 4 XLR inputs, 2 high Zs. We also included Bluetooth 5.0 in here as well. And you also do get the 2 channels of phantom power as well. And again, this is going to tie into that JBL Pro Connect app. And actually in both the Eon 1 Mark II and the PRX1, there is a pass-through so you can expand to another unit. So if you're a single act player and you just want one of these, maybe the Eon 1 Compact as your fold back monitor on the floor, you can totally use that port and it's completely set upable however you want to use that. Next slide. What also differentiates between the Eon 1 Mark II and the PRX is the PRX1 can be installed. And that's right. So if you look at that, it looks very similar to the CBT 70, CBT 1000 bracket. And that is very, very observant of you to see that. So basically that's the kit that you can buy. So think of this in terms of house of worship where budget is a constraint that you have to work with, but you still want to be able to throw this thing, 50, 60 feet and have it be heard and have it be sounding good. So that's the install bracket kit. You can go to the next slide. So this is the JBL Pro Connect app. This is a brand new app that we have designed that's going to be able to enable you to use up to 10 speakers. So you could have 5 Eon 1 Mark IIs and you could have 5 PRX1s all within this app and be able to control each speaker and their mixer separately. So in that venue where you might have a whole lot of different things going on in different rooms, you could be able to grab grab this, your tablet and pull up, as long as you're in range on your Bluetooth, and pull up any of these speakers and be able to control them. I am also told that the Eon One Compact at some point next year will be brought up to speed and will be usable in this app as well. So we're trying to make sure we build this whole ecosystem of all of our portable PAs to be workable in the JBL Pro Connect app. Next slide. This is going to just kind of show you a little close up of what it looks like when you're in there. So on the left, you'll see it's kind of like you can see the different mixers, your bass guitar, vocals, right? Guitar, lead. It's just giving you that view. And it kind of shows you when you go into EQ, how you've got 8 bands of parametric that you can work with in there. And on the right, you can see what the effects looks like. You've got your reverb, delay, chorus, and echo. So you can see it's real intuitive. Also, I want to tell you that both of these speakers actually have a beginner, intermediate, and advanced user level. So if you look on the left side, you see that there's a custom, then there's like rock, jazz, DJ. So if you are a beginner, you can actually just go in here and just select the different presets and use them that way, because you're not like a mixer and don't really have that capability. So if you're that intermediate person, go to that rock EQ and then customize it. Start moving it around and it'll ask you if you want to save that custom setting. If you're advanced, you don't even use the presets. You just go into custom and you build your EQs per your channel, per channels as you see fit, right? So it gives you that 3 different level, that 3 different tiers of usability. So you do not have to be advanced to use this at all. Next slide. This, I just wanted to kind of show you what our old discontinued models, Eon One and the Eon One Pro, you had the 10-inch woofer. And then when we, in the Eon One Pro, we added the battery inside there. So we had to reduce the size of the subwoofer. Both of them had analog mixers. About 118 dB is how loud we got. So now if you look at the PRX1, you're at that $15.99 price point. So like for $100 more from the Eon One Pro, you are getting a lot more. You're getting 130 dB, 2000 watts. You're getting a 7-channel digital mixer. You're getting 2.5-inch drivers, 12 of them all the way down. And even on the Eon One Mark II, comparatively to the Eon One Pro, you're getting 8 2-inch drivers. You're getting a 10-inch subwoofer. You're going to be at 123 dB when you are plugged in. When you're running it on battery, you'll be at about 119 dB. So you'll be at that similar output as the Eon One Pro when you're running it on battery. It's just the nature of battery. You can go to the next slide. So we've even beat ourselves, basically. This is how the Eon One Mark II stacks up with the competitors. You can see in the red or the JBL orange where we win over our competitors. It gives you a really good, oh, by the way, there are 2 USB ports in each one of those. So you can be charging up your tablet while you're controlling it, or charging up your phone while you're playing Spotify. So that school teacher that wants to play some music on the playground will be able to charge their phone up while they're actually playing some music for the kids. And then note, 42.5 pounds, that's the one-hand carry. So we are not the best in weight, but comparatively for what features we offer, we are right in there. I know I've been using both of these speakers for my own duo. I'll be using it again this weekend on Saturday and Sunday in a bar restaurant, and it does the job. They're amazing. So next slide. This is how the PRX1 stands up with the EV, the Turbo Sound, and the Bose Pro. We win, right? And we're right in there with the weight. Turbo Sound is way off by the weight. None of them are using 5.0 streaming and control like we are. And you get the 2 USB ports. Nobody else has that. We put in a full suite of Lexicon and DBX effects. Oh, and there's AFS. So you got auto feedback suppression too as well on both of these, Eon One and the PRX1. And we just kind of win in all categories. Next slide, even price. So I've been talking to you on the new Aura microphone. I know you have to hear my voice, but hopefully my voice sounds pretty good to you. This is the baby of the Lyra. It is a 2-capsule setup. You've got front and back. So you can get that 360 degree. So it's our USB microphone. You could drop in the center of a table in a conference room and be able to do conferencing with one microphone in the room. And obviously the same thing as the Lyra, I'm plugged into it so I can hear my own voice. I know it's a curse. I have to hear my own voice. But you can hear your own voice. You can also mute, so I can mute at a quick glance, and then I have the simple volume control. So this is like around that $99 price point. And it is a really good microphone. It's class compliant. So that means when you plug it into your PC or your Mac, it's going to automatically know it. And you don't have to load any drivers. It just works. You can also use it with your iOS and your phone, your tablet, on Android as well. So next slide. I think we might be there. So here's our target customers. One of the categories that we have added is for music and speech and web streaming, right? So especially the web streaming, because we're finding that a lot of people are using this now, like I am right now with you. I use mine every single day. It's comfortable. It works. It sounds good. If I was to, let's see, if we got a couple of seconds, I can show you if it'll give me, let me see if it'll let me change my audio. But if not, it won't. I don't think it's going to let me change my audio. No, it won't let me change it. So, but we can go through it at some point one-on-one. Hit me up, hit Sean up. We are here for you always. You don't have to guess. We will help you through all your projects. Give us a holler. We're here to help. And with that, I think I can. Oh, I got one more thing. So this is just a little bit like I just showed you. Mark your calendars or take a picture of this screen with that website down below. On Tuesday, the 16th, we are announcing, yes, another portable PA speaker that is coming. So you don't want to miss this. I know it's been very difficult for all of us in this world to try and get product, let alone try and make new product. But yes, we are making new product, as you can see from today. And we are making new product, and we are having stock of this product too as well. So if you can sign up for this, you don't want to miss it. Craig Lambrecht and Brandon Knutson are amazing. They're the two that are behind the Eon 1 Mark II and the PRX 1. Really good products. And it's always fun and exciting to be a part of something that's globally announced right there. So you just imagine you're sitting in something where everybody's hearing it for the first time. So other than that, I'm going to hand it back over.
There we go.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. So that sounds exciting. New stuff coming. That's always exciting. I just wanted to let everyone know, if you have any questions, you can either type them in the Q&A, or if you want to unmute yourself, you feel free to ask a question if there are any questions. We got a lot of information all at once. Sometimes that can be overwhelming. Let's see anybody, but feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like.
Yeah, there's no way Tewks and I explained this thoroughly enough to not have any questions.
Right. Totally.
All right. Well, I don't see any. So I just want to.
Is that really Tewks's voice? That's the first question.
There you go. Come on now.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have
His singing voice is better than his speaking voice.
Yeah.
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 Oh, we got an.
Can you
explain
yeah,
H control?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So H control. So NetLinks uses, I'll take a step back. NetLinks uses what we call ICSP. That's how all the touch panels talk to the masters. That's how the other accessories, the EXP boxes and stuff like that. And then HiQNet, as we know, is how like BSS can talk to Soundcraft and all that other stuff. So what's going to happen with H control is that it's going to take all the components of both of those protocols and combine them into one, and not just combine, device IDs and addresses and things like that. It's also going to make it in a human readable format. So as a programmer, when I'm dealing with HiQNet, that was always a pain in the butt because it was all in hexadecimal. I had to calculate checksums. I also had to worry about escaping characters that was reserved for other functions. So I was always looking for the escape character and everything. With H control, it's more aligned with JSON and how JSON structures and everything is built. So this will actually help us with something else that's going to be coming in the future, where you might be able to, at some point in time, be able to use another object-oriented programming language in the NetLinks environment. And JSON is extremely good with object-oriented programming, because I will not have to parse any of those strings or any of that information. I can just take that string, unpack it into an object, and then start using everything very freely. So it's going to line up into the next platform of NetLinks very, very well. And even the existing platform of NetLinks is going to be good because, like I said, everything's human readable. So it's going to be easier to work through those strings than in previous iterations.
So how does my voice sound now?
Terrible.
Yeah. So that's the difference between that and this. Much better.
Webcam
Wow.
versus Aura.
Yeah. There you go.
Wow, that's awesome.
Nice.
All right. Well, again, I want to remind everybody, Herman does, we have our sales team available to you. If you have any questions about ordering the product or getting the product, we would be happy to help you out. And I have put up a map, hopefully you can see that, of our regional team across the country here. This includes both our ADI and Herman sales team, which is now one. And I appreciate everybody being here today. We will be sending out a survey just to ask how we did. So thank you again. And thanks to the team here from Harman. And we appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you again, maybe next quarter.
You got it, Stacy. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.